Today is Sunday, August 8th in the year of our Lord 2020. And this evening is a special day for us because we are going to listen on the topic of anger management, a long-awaited topic. Welcome to GASA Media, the Center for Education and Capacity Building, GASA University.
Good evening, everyone. Before I continue, I would like to call on Madam Ajong Christine with a word of prayer.
A word of
prayers.
Okay. Let's bow our heads down and pray. Gracious Father, we thank you for another day. We thank you, Lord, for bringing us together. And we thank you, Lord, for all the good things you have been doing, for your protection and good health. Heavenly Father, for all the wisdom and the knowledge you give us, we say thank you. Heavenly Father, at this moment, we call your presence among us. Give us the wisdom to talk about anger management. May this presentation be the start of a new dawn in our life. May we have a way forward in our life as we finish this presentation. Heavenly Father, may you continue to be with us. May you continue to unite us in one spirit. Continue to protect us, especially this period of pandemic. Heavenly Father, be with us and our families and continue to guide us. Help us to continue to know that you are there for us. Continue to bless us in every walk of life. We ask this and more in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Okay, just for housekeeping, thank you, Madam Adon Christina, for that wonderful prayer. Just for housekeeping, as always, we always like to ask our audience to put themselves on mute, especially when the speaker or the guest speaker is speaking, or even when any other person is on the microphone. We have the moderator who will be coordinated. If you want to go use the bathroom because you are in your house, yeah, you can just go and do that and come back on quietly. So that is just the basic housekeeping rules.
Yeah, if I can say something, Barrister Eno, I think your background has some noise. I have muted you, but you unmute again. If you can just allow it muted, and then when you want to speak before you unmute yourself.
Is that okay now?
Yes, it's okay.
Okay,
Perfect.
it's okay now.
Okay.
Okay. Once more, our topic tonight is going to be anger management, and our guest speaker, as we all know, is going to be Pastor Njualem Gabriel. Pastor, you're welcome to the program today. Pastor, can you hear me?
Pastor need to unmute himself.
Can you unmute yourself, Pastor?
Thank you. Thank you all for being there today. I'm Gabriel Njualem, or you can call me Pastor, as she said. And it's a privilege. It's a privilege for me to present this topic on anger management today.
Okay, thank you so much for honoring our invitation. So before I will give the microphone to Pastor Njualem, I would like to call on everyone to remain perfectly silent when the presentation is going on, because any little noise that you make, the camera will switch from him to capture you, which will not be good. So any observation or any questions, just note it down, because at the end of the presentation, everybody will be given the opportunity to either give the contribution or ask questions. So we plead on our guest speaker, Mr. Njualem Gabriel, to stay put after the presentation to receive reaction from our audience. Okay, once more, Pastor Njualem, you're welcome. I hand over the microphone to you for your presentation.
Thank you once more. The presentation today is centered on anger management. And I have broken this into 4 main parts. We need to, first of all, understand the definition of anger management, or the explanation of anger management. From there, I'll move to the cause of anger. I'll move to common anger triggers. anger management techniques, and then the last point will be conclusion. So as we all know, anger management simply is a psychotherapeutic program for anger prevention and control. It helps you recognize frustration early and resolve them in a way that allows you to express your need and keep calm and in control. It has been described as deploying anger successfully. Anger is frequently a result of frustration or a feeling of block or thwarted from something that subject feels important. We experience anger in everyday life. Maybe it's at our job site. It can either be at home, maybe as husband and wife. There can be misunderstanding in the house. It can even be towards our own children in the house. Even when you go out for shopping, somebody can anger you. So that's why today this presentation is very, very important. Because at the end of this presentation, we will have an understanding to know how we can react to situations concerning anger. So I'll move to the cause of anger. There are four main causes. There are four main causes of anger that I'm going to touch. The first one will be the social cause. The second one will be the physical cause. The third one will be emotional. And the fourth one will be environmental. So social cause includes when you are angered, it pushes people away from you and increases isolation. Anyone who is angered tends to push people because you will not like to go closer to somebody whom you feel that is getting angry or who is angered. You always tend to stay away from such a person. Anger intimidates people. Anger also is perceived by children, which increases anxiety. Like in the house, if the dad is angered towards the mom, or if the dad is angered towards maybe the daughter or the son, it can increase anxiety in the children. So these are the social cause. We also have physical cause. It uses tons of energy for what is often not a major threat. Like when we are angered, we tend to burn more calories. I'm sweating. I don't know why it's hot inside the house. When we are angered, we tend to burn more calories. We tend to use more energy for what is not mostly a major threat. Anger can cause injury because some people, when they are angered, they tend to fight. And in cause of fighting, you can injure yourself or you can injure anyone who is closer to you. The emotional cause, the third one is the emotional cause. It reduces the time to be happy. Each and every human being needs to be happy. We need to have happiness as human beings. But if we are angered all the time, it is going to reduce the amount of time for us to be happy. We are always going to be bitter. Anger triggers the body flight and fight response. It causes fear, excitement, and anxiety. When you are angered, the adrenal gland floods the body with stress hormones, such as adrenaline. The environmental cause, which is the fourth one, includes the following: broken stuff, You can break your hand when you are angry. Some people, when they are angry, they tend to smash stuff. Because I saw on Facebook last time, a lady had a problem, I think with, maybe it was the girl boyfriend or something of that sort. What she did now was she went outside and then started smashing the car. She broke the windscreen, she banged the door, she did so many things because she was angry. The environmental cause still includes jail time. If you are angered at time, you can do certain things that can result in the police arresting you and you go to jail. Anger also can reduce your options, like in relationships. It is obvious that if you know a man who is always angry, it will be difficult for that person to have a relationship. It can be a relationship with a female friend, a boy-girlfriend relationship. It can be a relationship even with your own friend, maybe a male partner. You will always tend to avoid such a person. Anger also reduces your option at work. If you have anger issues, you will not face it very well at work, because there are times that we are stressed up. There are times that the workload is too much. You need to control your anger. Even when it comes to housing, for you to maybe rent an apartment, if they know that you have anger, it might still be an issue. They might not lease you that apartment because they know you have anger problems. So we are going to talk about common anger triggers. Why do people get angry? I have about 5 or 6 points here. When people are disrespected or marginalized, they tend to become angry. We have seen this in so many situations. I don't want to go politically. There are a group of people who are marginalized. They feel that they have been marginalized. And then as a result of this, it nurses anger in them. If you feel that you have been disrespected, it nurses anger in you. Also, disappointment. If you are disappointed, it tends to trigger anger. I remember I once was watching a football match some few years ago in the stadium. It was a cup final. It was 0-0. 120 something minutes. It was close to, was injury time. Remaining about 3 minutes to the end. And then it happened that the defender did a back pass. And then the ball went into the net. People became disappointed. And as a result of this, everyone was angry. The supporters, they were all angry. So when people are disappointed, they tend to become angry. Also, if you are misunderstood at times, it can nurse anger in you. When we are misunderstood, it opens the door also for anger to be nursed in us. Embarrassment can also trigger anger. Powerlessness can also trigger anger. Jealousy and envy can also trigger anger. So anger management techniques. How do we manage anger? I think this is the most important part. You cannot manage anger without knowing what is anger. How do you manage anger? When you're angry, the first thing you do is you take a deep breath. What happens is this calms your anger by allowing oxygen into your brain. And it turns you to think clearly and gain control. So whenever that you feel that you are angered, maybe somebody did something wrong to you and you feel that you are angered, the first step is that you stop and you take a deep breath. It will allow oxygen to circulate into your brain, and it will cause you not to think clearly. When you are angered, don't just stay silent. Because if you stay silent, it's going to continue. The anger is going to continue dwelling in you. You have to speak it out. Because when you speak it out, it opens the door to your healing. It's emotions. So you have to talk about it, because this can help you get out and save the way. Talking about it also opens the door to the healing process and can make you feel better. So whenever you feel that you are angered, somebody has done something wrong to you, don't just sit quiet and you nurse it in your mind. There are times that you have to speak it out, tell the person or tell others what you feel is not going right inside you or what somebody has done. When you do this, it will open the door to healing. Another way to manage anger is journal writing. This means writing down the thing you feel is causing you to feel angry. It will help you relieve the pain. Somebody might have done something to you, and you are worried, you are angered. You just take your pen and a piece of paper, and you begin to write everything that you know that is troubling you. When you do that, you will find out that you will find freedom. Anger can also be managed by drawing. Some people, when they are angry, they start drawing. And we know that behind every drawing, there is a message. You can just be drawing some stuff. In your eyes, it might seem as if he's doing nothing, but it means something. And through this, the person also is going to be relieved. We also need to have positive thinking. Because behind every action, there is a reason. Someone might tell you that I did this to him. And when you heard what the person said, now you develop anger towards me. You nurse me now in your heart. But we are not supposed to do like this. You need to find out what was the problem. Why did I behave that way? So you need to have positive thinking. You think positively. So I have the following conclusion concerning anger management. Never hate or misjudge people. Do not worry about things that are not impacting in your life. Live a simple life and avoid competition. Expect little from people and give more if you want to overcome anger. Always put a smile on your face. And the last point, keep in touch with God in all situations and giving him thanks. So no matter what people they do to you, whether it's good or bad, instead of nursing anger in you, there are times that you just have to say, oh Lord, I thank you. And I take a scripture from the book of Philippians 4 verse 6. We say to not be anxious about anything, but in everything give thanks to God.
Amen.
So when people cause us to become bitter, or when people annoy us, we move to that stage whereby we can become angry. We have, instead of becoming angry, we have to give thanks to God. Let's thank God for that situation. Let's thank God for what they said. Let's thank God for what they did. So anger management is very, very important. And I thank the House for giving me this opportunity to present, to do this short presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, our able pastor, Gabriel Njualem. Please, let's give him a round of applause for that powerful presentation. I think that was wonderful. I, for one, I have benefited a lot because I always get angry. So at least with all these tips now, I'm sure that my situation is going to get better. And I believe that every other person too has benefited. So we make it open now for everyone to ask questions concerning this very topic, or you can as well chip in your contribution.
Okay, yeah, before we continue, let me just recap for those that were joined in while he was already speaking. This is a topic on anger management where Pastor Njualem Gabriel, he started by giving the definition of anger. Then he outlined some of the causes where he talked about the social, physical, emotional, environmental causes. And then he gave us some trigger of anger. I think he enumerated about 6 or 5 or so where he talked about disrespect, marginalized people, disappointment, misunderstanding, embarrassment, we feel powerful, jealousy, and envy. Those are trigger factors. Then he went on to dwell more on the management technique, how we can combat anger management, where you talk about taking a deep breath to ease circulation of oxygen, speak out to somebody that you trust, then by writing a journal, writing out on a piece of paper things that worries your mind, and or by drawing, making sketches of drawing. Then he concluded by saying, never judge somebody or never hate or misjudge. And I think he also outlined and he quote from the Bible, Philippians, I think verse 4 to 6, where he explained that people should be loyal to God. Sometimes you pray, you meditate, that will ease your anger. And for those that, I'm just giving this rundown, for those that are joining us right now, I think, Gillette, back to you.
Okay, so we expect questions from the audience. If no question yet, then let me be the first to ask my own question to our pastor. Pastor, if anger pushes people away from you, what now can you do in order to gain people back? I mean, as your friends. It's very delicate for you to be without a friend just because of anger.
You say if anger pushes people away from me,
yes,
I will still try by all possible means to contact them. There are people who have despised me most of the times, but I still create time. They don't greet me, but I still create time maybe to visit them. I still create time, I phone them. I still show them that love.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We are still waiting for interaction from the audience.
Pastor, you said something. Can you get me?
Yes. Yeah, I'm getting.
Hey, Pastor, you know, I want to ask if people are scared of you because you are angered and become violent, how do you, because normally anger is associated with violence, how do you think as an individual where when you get angered you become so violent and people scare away from you because of that violent part of attitude of yours? How do you think you can control
that? You need to first of all understand that you have anger. If you need to first of all accept that you have the anger. It should not be that people are telling you that you have anger. If you accept that you have anger, you understand the fact that you have anger, and you are willing to come out of that anger, then it will be possible. That's the first step. And I know I don't want really to spiritualize it. You see, I just brought back the scripture. I use this as a presentation and not as a sermon. And I know anger is something spiritual. People need to be prayed for. Someone who is exercising anger, someone who has anger, it's a spirit at times. So they need to be prayed for. At times they do things that they themselves don't really know that they are doing. They only realize they have exercised their anger.
Yes, if I may just add to Pastor, borrow you to add to, I think what Pastor Eno is asking from the legal perspective, as you may know, I think Pastor Gabriel talked about environmental causes, breaking material, where it could lead to conviction, police arrest. Normally, the prison system, or sometimes you hear correction facilities. So it's there to correct you. People that have anger that result to violence, the way, if I may think the way Barrister Eno was asking, where it's uncontrollable, you get arrested, you are taken to jail. That jail, in an ideal way,
most of the time they send them to reform centers.
Yeah, reform or correction centers.
Yeah, especially when they are minors.
Yes. So when you are restrained, then your rights are taken away. So you begin to reflect. If somebody cannot, if you cannot listen to counseling, then you may be forced to. So when you go to prison, your rights are taken away from you, then you begin to think otherwise. And sometimes you see people come out of prison, then they become changed people. I don't know if that makes sense.
That's very, very important.
Yeah, that is another good point.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Any other reaction?
Yeah, I just want this is Campbell. I just want to say that I want to thank Pastor Njualem for the wonderful presentation. I think that's something that we all go through, either at home, at work, or wherever we are. And just to add to one of the things that he said, when you are very angry, at times you have to also know that even though venting out may be important, but sometimes you regret your words that you use when you are angry, and they may have very, very significant consequences.
Doctor, are you true?
Is the camera still here?
Maybe you get disconnected.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I say something?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Pastor Gabriel, for this presentation. This presentation, the topic anger management, is a very important topic. It is a topic which all of us faces. We face it every day and then every time. I think management is the key on anger, because you will not avoid getting angry. But the key is, how do we manage it? And to me, sometimes we need to think vividly of the consequences if you don't manage it appropriately. Number one thing in it is exercising patience. If we know that our actions will be disastrous, will be terrible, and you already know that anger is something that is within us and is within you, and your actions will have consequences, and then we need to exercise patience. Exercising patience is just think for a few minutes, a second, and say, what am I about to do? What am I about to do? If you know that what you're going to do, your words or your actions have consequences, then you won't do it. So exercising patience is what to me, I think is very, very important to do it on. That's my contribution.
Thank you so much, our sound controller. That's a powerful one. We have taken note of that. Any other contribution, please, or question?
I have a contribution. My hand is up.
Okay, ahead.
Yeah, thank you so very much, Pastor. The only point I want to say is that when it comes to anger management, we need to work on our communication skills. Because we have various modes of communication, verbal, non-verbal, that triggers a lot of frustration. We have to improve our communication skills. We must learn how to speak up, because sometimes our opponents may not even know what we are doing. So when we speak up, we release ourselves and we also release the other person. That's a little contribution I want to give.
Thank you so much, Madam. We appreciate your contribution. Any other question or contribution, please?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think people are just meeting themselves. There are so many people here that are needed. We don't want this to be, people should feel free to talk. We don't want it to be kind of maybe selected few. That not just to, but if anybody indicate, we'll be able to see. But also, I think Christina did mention on communication skill, which or communication in general. Let me just draw this into the perspective of our organization, how we can apply, because in a group like this one, there are certain things that the leadership, especially like send out and communicate or take certain decision, which the members, the audience may not know the reason for doing certain thing in a certain way. We think that we as the leader, and the Secretary General, I'm speaking in that capacity right now, it's our responsibility to communicate effectively to the audience, even if it means I will put something in writing, which the message may not be clear. I may have to come now to the media to actually explain the reason so that members are able to understand the reason why the leadership or why we are doing things in a certain way. Because like you said clearly, if people don't communicate, you will not know what is going on. You just think that a group of people are left out. The organization belongs to a certain set of people. So, which may result to anger to those individuals in the group, which could extend. So to me, I think this topic, anger, is a very broad one, and we can pick out technique from here and apply it in every little activity that we do. And it will be very useful, especially when you go to the management technique, where you talk about this communication. How do we effectively communicate to each one of us? How do we be tolerant? Jesus did mention about being patient. I want to add to it being tolerant. How to compromise with one another to find the middle ground. It's a give and take, a win-win approach. That way we can reduce our anxiety and our anger and move forward. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for that powerful contribution. Any other question or contribution?
I have a contribution.
Yeah.
Okay, Barrister, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to add that the topic of anger management is a very complex topic. Complex in the sense that there are some times that you, as our pastor rightly said, you want to apply the techniques in managing anger. It turns out again to provoke a situation. What I'm saying is that, like I'm talking about a domestic anger. You at times you may have some misunderstanding with your spouse at home, and then you think that the only way to control your anger is when she talks, you just keep quiet. Just keep quiet and try to ignore her. But that one causes it's more provocative again to her. So don't laugh, please. At times, At times when the misunderstanding starts at home, you say, okay, the best way to solve this problem, let me step out. Let me step out and meet a friend and take a drink. But you think that you are solving a situation because you know your anger. You know sitting there, it may cause you to do something that you will regret it. It's okay, let me just leave the house. You go out, you take a beer or two, but the woman turns around thinking that she's hearing you. The things that thinking that you are instead ignoring her, you don't have her time, she's nothing to you. That's why I'm saying that this thing is very complex. So we just need to always be prayerful, God to always try to calm down our adrenalines whenever we get angered, to clear on so that we should not do anything funny. And then we should also, one of the causes of anger is provocation. When you are in a scene, at times the provocation leads a lot of erase your adrenaline. So that's why I'm saying that it's really a complex situation. At times, you want to use some of the methods, like the one I just cited, that you can resolve the situation at hand, but it becomes more provocative again until the other partner erases the anger of the other partner also. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Very powerful one.
I think Barrister just nailed it on the practical side of it.
Exactly.
This is really practical, and as we are in here, the important thing is actually like to share ideas like this, which are practical, and see a way in which we can actually manage it. That is like a case study he presented. It's sometimes very difficult, like Barrister said. But I said before that we should exercise patience. But that patience too can escalate. You might exercise patience up to a point and see that you've kept quiet and it kept burning inside of you. And you keep on continue to exercise the patience. It's not easy, but let's continue to exercise patience. That's all I think. It's not easy.
I think okay, let me just add this 30 seconds. Okay. I think in every situation, Barrister thought about, you think that if you stay there, you may raise your hand, put your hand on somebody. Then you think about the harm that you will cause compared to moving away. Now, what do? We think that if you move away, you will cause a lesser effect compared to staying there and causing more harm. So when you put the two together, then you see that the other option was better. Also, because we have different causes of anger, not all the technique apply to all. So every anger has a particular path to handle it. So if we're talking about in the marital home or spousal relationship, I think in that situation, maybe communication that Christina as said earlier, explaining to the other person why you take a decision, or compromising, tolerant, accepting that, okay, I will give it up. I was taking this decision, now I surrender. Let it be like that. You surrender because of peace. So I think, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that powerful contribution. Somebody wanted to speak. Who was that?
Gabriel, I think, can you unmute yourself, Gabriel?
I think, okay, after that.
I want to ask Pastor a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Pastor, I got a friend. Almost everything you do with him is always where he has anger. I think you talk about environmental anger. I think he's suffering from that. I have tried to help him, but I've not been able to help him because every little thing he has, the wife will always call me, provokes anger. If I speak with him, I even try to tell him about God. He don't listen. He tell me he don't believe in God. So I don't know how to tackle that problem.
Is that Kunju?
Yeah. So, Pastor, what can we do in such a case?
You know, it's a little bit complicated, but at times you don't necessarily need to tell him that you want to take him to God or to Christ. There are times you can pray for people in your closet. If you know he has anger issues, you understand, he's a friend to you, it's possible that you pray for him. If you pray for him, God answers prayers. Things can change. It's only one possibility. I'm not saying it will. Things can change if you commit him into prayers.
Well, I think I will try that because just of recent, he was even locked up because with anger, he promised to kill the wife, kill the children. And he was locked up for almost 3 days.
Yeah. So just be praying for him.
It's still the same thing.
He needs deliverance.
Anger is a spirit, even though we are saying like this.
As Pastor says, it's a spirit, I do believe that.
Yeah, anger is a spirit. So at times we need God. That's why I concluded at the end. I brought God inside Philippians 4 verse 6. I did not want to make it to be like a sermon anyway. It was a presentation, but I just brought this verse because I know that everything ties on God. There are times you might pray for somebody in your closet and God will still answer the prayer. So just keep on praying for him.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Can I say something, please?
Go ahead, Mom.
Okay.
I'm Bruce.
Good evening, everyone. Please, I just like to add to what Pastor has said. What I can say concerning the friend that Gabriel is talking about, as a wife, the wife has an upper hand on the prayers. So if the wife to engage even the children to pray for him, the mom must not necessarily be aware of it, that you are praying. Make like a chain prayer for him. Certainly, God will arrest him and he will have a change. So it's just to pray. And the wife has an upper role to do it. She can turn things around only with prayers. So let her engage the children on prayers. Maybe they agree on a family time that they will pray, irrespective of whether the man is there or not, but just the wife and the children, they will succeed.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that powerful
it's a difficult situation because one day he carried his son to mass. So what happened? So my wife wanted to take my son to church. I said, oh my God. It's a difficult situation.
So I buy the idea of Ambrosia.
See, that is true. I buy the idea of Pastor to an Ambrosia. It's a good idea.
Yeah, so Pastor, I want to ask this question, please. Anger is demonic. And like the situation my brother just quoted, Gabriel, that guy, the friend needs a lot of, they need the hands of deliverance. If the Ambrosia also proposed that the wife has an upper hand to always to commit chain prayers with the children at home, if the man is very resilient in prayers, is it possible to cast out demons on somebody who is not visible, who is not present, through prayers?
The wife and the kids, as our sister Ambrosia said, they can pray for him without him necessarily being there, because prayer is something spiritual.
Okay.
God will convict that person if we pray. If the family can, especially the wife has that power more than our brother Gabriel. If the wife can pray,
but I thought in institutional life, the wife must be one of the wife and the children must be prayer warriors.
It doesn't matter. God at times sees the intent. If God sees that you need something and then you open your mouth to pray, God will give it to you. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's a pastor who has to pray. Prayer is communication. You yourself, you can open your mouth and speak to God and God answers you. It's very, very certain. And anger, actually, not that anger is demonic. Anger is a gift from God. God gives this to us to prove so that when things are not going all right, we react. It's part of our emotions. But it's just that the devil now has come in to use it for his own good. You understand what I'm saying? Hello?
Yes.
Hi.
Let's go.
Yeah. So anger is something that is not from the devil actually, but the devil now passes through to use it for his glory. Anger is part of our emotion. It is something that God gave it to us. If things are not going right, I have to react. It's normal. But you have to control yourself. Don't move to that stage that you can even cause destruction. But the bad part of it now is that people get angry now, and then they are being pushed to that extent that they do something that is bad. But if you look at the origin of anger, anger is a gift from God. It's part of our emotion.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Pastor.
I think Christina with her hand up already. Yes, you can go ahead, Christina.
I just want to go back to what the barrister said about spouses. You know, we get angry at home, and if you move, as he said, if you move out to avoid the situation, and when you come back, you have to address the situation. Because if you come back and you stay silent, it provokes the anger more. And spouses, we need to also look into ourselves. Are we helping the situation? If one person is angry, do we search to know that we are the cause of the anger in order to help the situation? We don't just say, she is hungry or he is angry. Why is she angry? Why is he angry at home? So we have to search and also try to help the other person so that things don't repeat themselves over and over and over again. I don't know whether I make sense.
You made it. You make sense.
Yeah.
A lot of sense.
Stepping out is to avoid the talking, because it always comes with talking when it comes to home. So stepping out is avoiding that part of talking. Then when you come back and you stay silent, that is too bad. The other person feels frustrated, feels neglected, you know, and the whole situation will escalate. Yeah. So we have to try to accept, to search in us and see whether we are even the cause of the anger and try to help the situation out.
Yep, you're right.
Thank you for now. You are very, very correct. In short, I buy your idea 100 on 100. Because sometimes when you even step out, you go and take drinks, it may even help to worsen the situation. Because the drinks can even get you, tipsy. And you come back and start punching. And you will get the situation from bad to worse.
I can see the hands of Mahi Beatrice. Yeah.
Good day, my dear mates. Actually, I just want to say there's a 5 letters word that is spelled sorry. I think that particular word like that at times it quenches a lot of things. Like situations may arise, you know, then at times we accept we are sorry when we are not really sorry, just for that sake of peace. I just want to say that when situations do come up that result to anger, at times one of us may say sorry, then when the tension is maybe calm down, you may bring that topic later on. Now because if the two of you now can sit down now, when you are in good terms now, you bring the topic, what first bring the anger. Then if each and everyone is really like having a conscience, he or she will look the error that first brought that anger into what the argument was. Most often we don't, that word sorry is so difficult for some people to say it. But I think at times if we can like even admit that we are wrong at times without being wrong, it may bring down maybe the tension that somebody may be having at a particular moment. There's also one thing I wanted to ask, like, okay, you have a partner who is always like angry, but most often you use that word sorry, then you bring back that topic later on. He doesn't again look into his errors. What can you really do? Or most often you keep on saying sorry, sorry, sorry every time. Then he doesn't like look into that. He has been always at 40. What are you supposed to do?
Pastor, are you in the house?
Pastor stepped out.
Pastor stepped out.
Yeah, I think Beatrice made a point there. Sometimes for us men, we might say sorry even if we know that we are not at the fault, just to cool down the temperature, cool down the tension in the house, because you really know sometimes that you are not at the fault, but you just want to keep peace. Let situations cool down, and you can bring the topic in a more nice way and establish good communication, whereby you can bring the subject. We know that when it comes to anger, usually men do not go very fast. Women do faster. But we men, we can cool down. We have the tendency to calm down than women. And in that case, we have the authority to bring peace, even if we know we are not at the fault, because we are the head of the family. And the head of the family is to make sure we bring peace. That's just an addition to what Beatrice said.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Nkeze, for that wonderful contribution. I don't know if your question is answered, Bia.
Yeah, it's answered partially.
I know. Yeah. Like somebody kept on saying, "He's sorry again, sorry every day." What can you do?
Maybe we should give the person some punishment. Can we give the person some punishment?
Gillet, can I say something?
Okay.
Yes, go ahead.
I don't know if people are hearing me.
Yeah, we are getting you.
Go ahead.
Okay. Sorry, I'm not visible this evening, but let me chip in something. In anger, there are, like, when you take a situation of a family, father, mother, and the children, there are some fathers, for example, whom when they are angry, they beat. That means they just beat the wife and beat the children. That means their anger come up that they really beat and even break up things. This type of anger, I think, is very, very dangerous, because you can, by beating somebody, break somebody's neck, you know. Yeah, in this type of anger that the fathers start beating up everybody, beating the wife, and beat the children, come to intervene, he beat the children and join them there. I don't know, that one is a very dangerous type of anger there. It's very difficult to tackle, because it's an anger that really, this person reacts immediately by beating. It is not something that he will wait before he do it. He gets angry and start beating up everybody. I don't know how to tackle that one. From my own point of view, I think that the wife and the children, if they are able to recognize that their father or their husband have that problem, that the problem he has is anger, then they can dwell in prayers, meaning that they pray and love him. No matter how much he beat them, they should not hate him. They should only show more love. That means the more he beats you, show him more love. Only that abundant love that you show to him.
When you die, you show love, you are great, right?
No. That only showing him love will change him. It is true, but this is really true. When he beats you, cry. When you finish, cook him fufu and arrow or whatsoever. Let him eat. Yes. It will make him think and say, was it even worth it for me to beat these people? Look at how they are loving me. Why did I even beat them? That is how he will think after. My own point of view from these beating husbands, because there are beating husbands out there. They are beating, even here in Europe, that beating is not tolerated. People, their husbands here in Europe who are still beating their wife in Eden, and their wives are not saying anything. They are beating and bruising up their wives because of hunger.
That's true.
Yeah, there are people like that. express their anger through beating, they will beat you mercilessly.
And that is why the law has made that's exactly why the law made provision for domestic violence, or when
that is it. But
domestic violence is a serious offense which is punishable by the law.
Yeah,
So,
Barrister, I know you're quite right, but I will not support a wife who take his husband to court because he beat them. What I say is that show him abundance love. He will change. He will change.
Excuse me. Let me make this thing clear. With domestic violence, domestic violence is a criminal offense. Excuse me, please. Let's get this clear. Domestic violence is a criminal offense. And the crime is not committed against the wife, but against the state. And it is only the state. Yes, don't think that you say, I have forgiven my wife, and then you think the state will forgive him. He has committed an offense, and the state takes upon it to prosecute. That is why during criminal prosecution, during criminal prosecutions, the victim comes in as a prosecution witness to the state. The prosecution becomes the principal party. The state of Cameroon becomes the party that the offense has been committed against the state and not the individual. They bring in the individual just as a witness to substantiate and to add more flesh on the facts that the state council has. Yes, ma'am.
The problem is that this man, the man beating, does not even know what he is doing. You know that violence is an illness. It, like the pastor said, it is demon. That man is acting it. Not even, that is why this beating husband, they come back crying to their wives after and say, well, sorry me, forgive me. They cry after to their wives, but they have already beaten them and caused bruises on them. They don't even know what they are doing. That is a problem. So how can you take somebody to court who is sick? It is an illness.
Yes.
That is how I think.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you. We have gotten the point.
If you don't take them to court and they kill you, what will happen to you?
That is a problem. And Bruce, you are talking now. If you don't take them to court and they kill you.
And they kill you.
And they kill you. You lose your life.
Where will you end? What will happen?
He will still go to prison.
Okay, well, that aspect of this beating husband, I cannot really answer. Let me forget about that. Gillette, please, 1 minute. Let me go to anger that causes people to vomit venom, or how they call it, to speak bad words. There is anger that makes people. There is anger that you just start to speak bad word and abuse somebody and curse somebody, like a friend and his girlfriend. You have spoken your inner life to your girlfriend. Your girlfriend will be angry one day and use all what you told her to vomit venom on you and say, look at yourself. Is this not what you are? Is it not what you are? Is it? And we've spread everything that you told her outside. So this type of anger like this, I don't know. I don't know, because according to me, if somebody has that anger that he's vomiting bad words, speaking bad words, like Barrister Eno said before, that if you are a family father, just step out and go and take a drink. It is a good approach. It is a good approach, but taking a drink is not enough. I think by taking that drink, speak to somebody so that by the time you come back to the house, your temper must have come down. If you only go outside and take a stroll and come back without speaking to somebody, that temper is still there. That is how I see it. Now, when you go outside, most people, they have their pastors that they go out like that for a stroll. They go and talk to their pastor and say, Pastor, see this palaver. And then they explain, they come back already calm down because they have spoken to somebody. That is how I see it. Speak to somebody when you go. Avoid that area of anger. Go outside. But when outside, speak to a close somebody you trust. And then when you speak to somebody you trust, that will give you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Sorry. I'm finished.
Thank you. We appreciate your contribution anyway. Okay. Any other question or contribution, please?
I think Ladislas wanted to speak here. Ladislas,
are you on the line?
No, sorry.
Thank you for that correction, Mabia.
Thank you very much.
This guy
if he's not there, can I speak?
He left.
Go ahead.
Please, just came on.
He's muted.
Yeah. Okay, that he's muted.
Yeah.
He can unmute himself.
Unmute. Additional, can you unmute yourself?
I think he left.
No, he's still there. He's muted.
Where is Nkem?
Well, let's continue. The man is not.
Yes, let's continue to rather than wasting time. Let's continue and move forward.
Ambrose, you have the microphone.
So,
okay, I have a worry on it. I have a little worry. I have a friend who has this problem still on anger management with a husband, whereby they have been for many years without a child since they were married. Now they had a little problem. The wife had a little problem with the family of the husband's family, and he carried it now, thinking that you are doing good. He takes it to the bar, discusses their talk, and start pouring out to everybody how you have been married for many years. You don't have a wife. You don't have a child because of this or that. You on the position of that woman, what do you do? Because you think that you can step out, as we are rightly saying, to have a cool down. But what if he goes out and it's a topic now in the bar that they are discussing? What would a woman do? You being the woman on that point, even up to an extent that out of anger you tell the woman, we've been married for this number of years and you've not given me a child. Maybe after 5-10 years, you've not given me a child. That kind of anger, how do we manage it?
I have something to say for that point. Can I go ahead?
Go ahead.
Yeah, as for children I give from God, and it's not only one person who bring out children. I'll just let him to know that I'm not the only one to produce children. Two of us have to join together to bring out children. And if you are like taking me now out because I can't produce a child, I have to just let you understand that you are the one even to give me that child to produce it, you know? But I will still let you know that let's focus on God, because children are a blessing from God. It's only through God that we can have those children. Going to the bar is not. I will let you know that going to the bar is not a solution for us to have those those children. And it was even better for that man to go even to the priest or to the pastor, so that pastor can intercede in one way or the other. Children, you know.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Forji. I think that you are really on the right track. It's very important. If you as the okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Who is speaking?
Myself.
Okay.
I was just like adding to what Forji Bia said, that you have to like tell him that this is not practically my fault. It is, if there is a fault, it's our responsibility to contribute to bear children. And so if you could even tell the man that all what you have maybe said in the bar to your friends, has it brought us children? If it has not brought us children, then that can never be the solution. Because sometimes if you don't really caution people like that, they get frustrated and they begin to lament and say all kinds of things, which you are not the cause of it. So if you like talk to your partner, you don't have to talk to him when he's already angry. Just allow him to calm down. Maybe at 5 o'clock in the morning, as I always recommend. 5 o'clock in the morning, tap him when he comes back and ask him that, honey,
a good dose.
Anyway, yes, all those things have been implemented. The problem is, presently they are not even in the house again. They are not even inside the same house living together because of it. And the man is like, I have not done anything wrong. Because you know, women, with this issue of children, the person who bears the bulk of it is the woman.
Yeah, that's true.
For it to come out of the same husband's mouth that I have been married with to her for 10 years, she has not given me a child. You know the pain that she will take from that. And then even after that, when you are out of the drunken state, you are in your normal senses, you are not ready to say, okay, I'm sorry, I even did something wrong.
Okay. Let me step in here. I think when we come here at GASA University and do the presentation, I don't just want it to become more like a social group where we present or we listen today and forget. Last 2 weeks, or the last presentation that Mr. Tawakel Ladisius did, it was on domestic violence that lead to abortion in pregnancy, or a related topic. We dwell so much on, it was kind of related to what Madame Bosset is asking here, where I remember Ladisius explaining that some of the domestic violence result to bearing children, especially when some men want male children and they are unable to have it. Then the third child becomes a female, even the fourth is a girl child. They themselves should be the problem because they cannot produce the X chromosome that is responsible for producing a male child. So when they get anger with all of this kind of attitude, somebody needs to educate them that it is you who is unable to produce the X chromosome that is resulting to having only female children. The same way you can still use that principle to apply that is because probably you are unable to even produce your own chromosome. It takes two to entangle. You can go to a medical doctor. I want us, moving forward, I want us to come back to this management technique. When we are doing a presentation like this, when the presenter outlines certain points, I want us to look at it and see how we can use those techniques to apply in certain situations. He did talk of speaking out. We have just said speak out. Somebody has said you can speak to the pastor. Somebody can say you can speak to a good friend. Speaking out, what does speaking out really mean? Or you move away from the situation. He didn't over expand on that one, but this is a step that I think that if we look at it, we can begin to expatiate on those points. I will take example of speaking out. We all have some very good friends, or you have a network. You may even have your elder brother or a physician that in case where Madame Bosset is saying, you go in for a fertility test. At that point, science would prove who is at the fault. So in some cases that I have read in journals, these are evidence. It's not a hearsay where a man is able to produce the chromosome, or the chromosome are able to, or he's unable to produce the sex chromosomes. That will result to fertility. He has something like low sperm count or low sperm production. So at that point, you know it is your fault. From that point, you will shut your mouth off. So some of these things, I think that there are solutions that can resolve, that can solve some conflict. That's why I wish that when we come here, we are all experts from different fields. When something comes out like this, we go into it and see why they have come out, why scientific world, the educational world have documented and come out with this possible solution. Deep breathing, speaking out, writing a journal, and drawing images. These are not things that somebody just sit up and do it randomly. Research has been documented that by drawing, by writing on a piece of paper, writing your story, you can even publish a book. That way, some of this anger, some of this problem will be solved. You may become a counselor after writing a story from your own personal view or from your own personal experience. So that is the thing, the short one I wanted to contribute. Sorry for taking too long.
No, it wasn't long. Thank you. Yes, Mr. K.
Thank you, Mr. Ernest, for elaborating on that. I have a little bit of a different view, in the sense that when they say practice makes perfect, also practical examples which we live every day matters. There are a lot of things that we put in theory, in writings, which is sometimes hard to accomplish. Let me just give you an example of speaking out. People usually say when you're angry, you speak out. When you speak out, you air out what you have. But what comes out of your mouth rather can promote the anger of the next person. So escalating the situation. So those are just
no, Julius, no, wait, hold on. No, Julius, hold on. Excuse me.
Mr. Director, can I finish my statement, sir?
No, because you are reporting what I said. I said, what does speak out really mean? Excuse me, please. What does speak out really mean? It doesn't mean shouting around. I can pick a phone and call Madame Brussels and call somebody that I know and call Gabriel and say, Bo, look, I have this issue, man. What do I do? That is what you mean by speaking out, in my view.
Excellent. That is now a good point. I agree with that. Call somebody you trust, exactly. Call somebody you trust. Talk with that person in a quiet tune, because the tone of your voice matters a lot. What you say out, speaking out to who? Who are you speaking out to? Are you speaking to the person you're angry to? Or you're speaking to a friend who can cool you down? That is very important. Situations differ a lot. Practical examples which will come here and share are very, very important. That is what we'll live with. We'll live with those situations, and when we share those experiences that we have gone through in practical situations, we'll learn more from it. That is what I believe.
May I chip in a personal experience on this?
Go ahead.
Yeah, it is so that when I have a frustration like that, when I'm angry, I don't speak to that particular person who made me angry, because I am boiling. If I have to pour out that boiling onto that person, it will be a very big problem. I speak to somebody, but somebody I trust. I call that person and speak this boiling tone to that person and express all this frustration. That means I remove everything in that shouting tone to that person. But that person is my friend. He know me, he will calm me down. When he calm me down, I say, look, Mary, that is not it. Calm down, calm down. I will calm down. I will take the advice from there, but I have calmed down. Then I will go back now to that person who really provoked me in a calm tone at that time. That is how I do it.
Yes,
yeah.
Good statement.
Because you cannot go to your good friend that you trust and you come down to him. That frustration is still inside you. Pour it out to a good friend, to your pastor, maybe, to somebody you trust. Pour it out the way it is boiling inside you. Let him understand this thing, how it is boiling. When you pour it out, he will then advise you if it's a good friend. Take that advice, then go back to your person who even provokes you at the onset.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mary, for that contribution. But please, let me add something. Let me just say something concerning
I want us to move.
People are still boiling.
Yeah.
Let's move to the next point. I want us to resolve this.
I think Christine wanted to say something.
That hand is up, please.
You people have taken my microphone from me. I was talking. Let me talk also now. You people have talked and I'm
talk.
Thank you so much. I was just like trying to chip in something concerning Ladislaus, please hold on.
I come in.
We will give you the microphone. Just hold on.
I come in.
Just hold on, Ladislaus. Okay, like I was saying, I wanted to chip in something concerning what Mary just said. We have to also be careful when talking to who we call, whether it's a best friend or whoever, because the situation. Because these days, I don't trust anybody, to tell you the truth.
That's true.
You just open up your problem to somebody, the person just uses it against you without you knowing. And it becomes another problem altogether. So what I do to manage my own situation is when I am angry, like the pastor said, I go silent for some time. And in that silence, I am meditating. In short, I cry to God. I go down on my knees and I vomit whatever anger that I have inside of me to God. Like the situation of the lady, they said she's unable to have a child. I will kneel before God. I will tell God all what he wants to hear, all what he wants to hear from me. I will narrate everything that is happening. I will tell him, and by the time that I finished up, in short, I locked my room. In the quietness of my room, I tell God everything. And just by talking like that, in short, the tension reduced. And after the person that angered me is maybe calm, I will approach him in a very calm tone, and then at that time we can talk, we can communicate.
Okay.
So that's how I handle it. Ladislas, are you still there? Ladislas.
Yes, muted. Let me try to
Muted.
Okay, so let's move on to the next point, please. I want us to really exhaust this thing. We should not dwell so much on one or remain on one point. I want us to talk about writing journal, because these are some of the tips that we can actually use, and it works. If you meet counselors or psychologists, they will tell you that some of these tips, they work. There are real practical examples. What does it mean by writing a journal? Because to me, let me explain when it comes to when Pastor Gabriel explained about writing or journal writing, because I've also done my own little bit of research before coming here, as I always do when there's we have talked of some of the deep anger that just come on spontaneously. Some of the things that have dwelled for so long that they keep coming up, they keep coming up. One of the techniques that you can do is get a book, maybe a laptop, or even a piece of paper, or your exercise book, or a ledger. You begin to write. You write out all those things. By the time you are writing, you are expressing your anger. You are expressing the things that are frustrating you. By the end of that exercise, it may take you even a year to complete a journal on anger management by writing every little thing that happens that resulted to that anger, that in all that event that has happened to you. By writing that, you are also speaking out in silence. You are writing it out. And by the end of that exercise, you see that all your anger, all your frustration may be gone. And people have published books on anger management based on their own experience, based on their practical experience by writing a journal in that way. I know sometimes we are not very used to, but these are some of the techniques that may also help.
Thank you so much. Yes, Mr. Keze.
Yes. This point of writing those elements, I doubt how many of us are inside here who sit and take and write those things down. This is very good in lectures, but practically, very few of us will be taking pens and writing issues down that angered you. We don't even have that time to be writing. We have the time to act. And our center should be on and how do we quickly manage those areas in more practical terms. When I kept on talking of practical examples, what we have lived, what we have gone through, there are a lot of theories that is written everywhere. But as a group where we are now, we have areas where we can cite and have our own discussion on. Those discussions are because they are areas which impact us the most. They are areas where we can usually go and have a grip of it. That is what I feel. I don't think we can be all the time. We can be focusing on so many areas we do not even practice.
No, but when we talk about writing, when we talk about writing, I do not just mean holding a pen like this one and a piece of paper. We type. We have cell phone. that will type. We will have Facebook. Something happened, you are on Facebook. You are broadcasting, private issue. Those are, yes. I mean, people do this most of the time. What I'm saying here is, Julius, what I'm saying here is, somebody has presented this to us. Let's analyze it and see if this is presentable. Ambrose raised an issue of a long-term anger management, a long-term anger problem. That is not spontaneous, what you are explaining here. This is something that is deep in the root. And writing a book or writing a journal is a solution to those kind of deep problems. You have to write where it started, where have I resorted to. Now I'm not in the house with a woman. Now I'm living alone. Now the woman is elsewhere with the female children. Because we did not have a male child, that resulted for the separation. Then you sit back and read that book. Is it really worth it? So when we are talking about writing, it's very important. We are not used to writing, but this is a thing that we need to develop to write and read. Especially when it comes to chronic anger issue. What you are referring to is acute anger. Oh, why do you not drive in the house? Why do you mess up the place? These are not the kind of things that the writing will apply to. But chronic anger, writing would apply to those kind of solutions. And this is how I want to chair the meeting, or we should go in that direction, so that we move by step and really understand different aspects in different situations.
Okay.
I think Christine has a point there.
We are going to learn from your own area. We are going to start practicing that. Okay, Christy, you have
a question on that. I have a question on that.
Christy has to unmute herself.
Christy?
Unmute yourself.
She's unmuted.
Oh, but we can't hear her. Oh, what's going on? Oh, she's unmuted.
Christy, can you hear?
Oh, no. Something is wrong. We can't hear you.
Okay, Mary, ask your question, please.
Okay, a first one to Ernest. Is this writing like writing a personal diary, or is it sharing your information on Facebook?
No,
is it a personal
not
diary? Or...
No, because I refer to Facebook because Julius did mention like we don't have time. That's why I said, even when we're at home, we use YouTube, we are doing them on computer. You can open a file, a folder, and begin to type this thing down. Writing, when they say writing a journal, you can write it with a pen. You can type it out. If you have a cell phone, you can type it and save it on your web. Those are your personal documents. Then after some time, you go back and read those in your journal and see what you have written yourself. Sometimes when you are angry, you write it down. Then after you go and read and see what you've written, does it really make sense? Was it worth it? So you evaluate retrospectively. It works. Then moving forward, if I want us to also go towards the conclusion, because when I look at the time, sorry, Gideon, I'm taking over you. He said, never hate or misjudge person. I want us to a little bit talk on this point, that we should never hate or don't hatred. Then do not misjudge, or you see somebody, you draw certain conclusion without even knowing, or you hear a story, oh, they're always like that. Oh, I know him, of course. You know, you jump into conclusion, then things begin to escalate. So this is one of the points that he's mentioned.
Ajong, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Go
good.
ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to say, I, for one, I will not write the journal. Because when we already manage the situation, talk it out, and I forget about it, and then one day I come across the journal and I begin to read those things, maybe it may provoke something again. So when we solve a problem and we have a lot of trust among ourselves, I don't think I can keep journal. Yeah. And then talking out or talking to people, as Gilead rightly said, who are we talking to? Do we really trust the people we are talking to? For me, we should try to talk to ourselves before going to other people. Then coming to the aspect of misjudgment, I think that point too is a very good point, because sometimes we misjudge people. We just hear somebody may say this person is like this or this person is like this, and you just draw conclusion. It is not good. Yeah. And I just want to say we have control over so many things in our life. So we always should try to control what triggers our anger, so as to minimize those situations. That's all for now.
Thank you so much, Christy, for that powerful contribution. We appreciate it. So I want to make my own contribution now. I think that if we really try, each time that we get angry, we try to really examine the situation, analyze the situation, and look at where we ourselves went wrong. Because most times we get so furious because we think that other people have offended us. We always think that people are the ones offending us. We forget to know that we too, we have a portion to be blamed in that situation that is going on.
Yes,
so each
sure.
time so each time that you're getting angry, avoid only looking at, it's my husband that is making me to be angry, or it's my this, maybe my wife making me to be angry. What's your own responsibility in that anger? Most often, what you apportion blame on myself. When you apportion the blame on yourself, you find out that in fact, the anger will reduce, because you always identify that there is somewhere that you, either out of negligence, there is something that you didn't do right. There is a particular portion that maybe you didn't really handle it well. That is what really raised the anger to a certain percentage. So if we try to always examine ourselves each time that we are angry, instead of blaming others, we should try to examine where we went wrong and try to blame ourselves as well. I think that it is going to go a long way to calm down the tension. And we avoid settling issues in anger. When you try to settle an issue in anger, you cause more harm than good. Each time that we are angry, we try, as somebody rightly said, to control the temperament. As our pastor rightly said, we take a deep breath to allow oxygen to circulate in our brain. Maybe we go silent also, maybe we talk. Somebody said we talk to ourselves. Yes, talking to yourself. You can lock yourself in the room and talk to yourself. I mean, talk. What I am avoiding is talking to other people. You have your marital problem. Your husband has made you angry. You call your best friend and you talk to the person. Before you know it, your best friend is sleeping with your husband because she has used it as a stepping stone. She goes to your husband in the name of trying to iron out to you. You think that she is trying to help out in the situation. She goes and paints you black there and then takes it to her advantage and then becomes the madam of the home. So this is exactly what we are avoiding. So I prefer that you talk to yourself or you talk to God. And most importantly, when we get angry, we try to meditate. Each time that you're angry, if you go down on your knees in your quiet moment, you meditate and ask God for direction. Before you know it, the anger will be gone. Thank you so much. I don't know if, Director, you have something else to say?
Yes, I was just trying to exhaust the list of some of the things we talk about hatred and misjudge. Yeah, he also concluded by saying that we should try to avoid competition. I think this is competition in the negative sense and not to be envious or to get that kind of jealous mind with somebody, because to me, when I was writing down this point, when he was taking down this note, competition in what sense? You see, somebody, because all these five fingers are not even the same.
Yes.
So you see somebody have purchased maybe a home, a big vehicle or something. Okay, you are not, maybe your wages or your salary are not the same. Because you want to compete with your friend, you go and engage yourself into that kind of endeavor. Now you subject your family to a stressful situation. So we're talking about spouses and family relationship here. Yeah, because the money that was supposed to maybe for feeding, you have used it to do some other thing because you see your friend or somebody doing that. You subject the house now to tension, to so much stressful, and that results to anger because you can no longer afford what you used to do because of competition, you have engaged yourself in something that you were not supposed to do. I think this was what he was trying to explain. Unfortunately, he has left because he has some other meeting to attend to. So if there are any other contribution, we can explain or do a little bit of debate on this one as well.
I have a question to Gillett.
Yes.
Yeah, Gillett, what considering talking to yourself or talking to somebody, is it advisable to talk to a pastor?
Talking to a pastor too is a little bit complicated. It just depends on who we call pastor here. Because to tell you the truth, there are pastors that are indeed pastors. They are indeed men of God that you can confine the problem to, and they will try to help you, maybe give you some messages to use in your prayers and so on. They will pray for you. They are interested in making your marital life to work. But there are really some pastors that you expose your problem to, it becomes a talk of the town. They use it maybe in maybe homilies to preach. As if that is not enough, they target how they can get you. I've seen men of God or pastors, let me not call them men of God, pastors that they use that kind of situation because they blindfold you to think that that is a pastor, and then they use it now, to have a particular relationship with the woman. Before you know it, they begin to tell you things that do not exist in the Bible. You see that your husband, he's possessed, you see he's up, he's down, he's this, he's flexing, he's up. Before you know it, you are somewhere else. So we should really handle it with care. It depends on who we really call pastor here. So it should not just be pastor, it should be really a man of God. If you really think that that's a man of God that can help in the situation, therefore, for me even, because I am a Catholic and we have priests, I have the belief that since they have never gotten married, they don't have experience when it comes. So they don't have experience when it comes to marital
issues.
I cannot carry my marital problem to them. I think that we should.
That's right. That's right.
We should talk to ourselves. We should talk to God. In short, the final person to talk to is talking to God. If you talk to God, God can never betray you. God can never lead you astray. He will show you the right direction. As you meditate, He will focus. He will direct you what you have to do. He will even calm you before you know it. Your anger has dropped down to zero. You begin to wonder what happened, but you cannot explain it.
Thank you. That's right.
Gilbert, can I say something? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's me.
Please, we are moving forward. We are moving forward. I wanted us to talk on the point of competition amongst others that will lead to anger, that thing that we can avoid. So I want us to do a little bit of discussion on that point.
Mr. Nkeze.
Yes, before the director came in, I have learned a lot from you on talking to yourself. Is what really battles me a little bit. How practical it is, and how rewarding or how calming it is. How can it really calm you if you talk to yourself without any feedback? So that is the question I wanted to ask you.
Okay, Mr. Nkeze, when they say talk to yourself, it's more like a form of meditation to me, if I can put it that way. I don't know how it happens. I cannot explain the things of, spiritual things. God just does it. You talk as you are airing out everything. Father, this is the situation. This is where I find myself. I don't even know where I am going from now. In short, I find myself confused. Please begin to refocus me. Begin to redirect me. Look at the situation I have at hand. You begin to talk as you are talking. You are talking aloud. It's not like you are doing silent prayers. No. When you are doing prayer, you are talking aloud. And this time around, you are doing it in a very confined place where you know you are just between you. It's just between you and God and no other. Yes. So you are talking. Before you know it, by the time you leave that place, you are no longer you. If you should imagine you that went in there at the beginning of the prayer and the time that you are leaving, you are a transformed and a different person. Just try it. You give me a testimony.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. No, I think.
Can I say something about the conclusion that Mr. Enes is talking?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, about that conclusion.
It was competition.
Yeah, competition. You know, you know that sometimes we just get angry with ourselves without any cause. We get angry with ourselves without any cause. This comes with competition, jealousy, and all whatnot. We just see somebody having something and we feel like, why is this person in this position? Why is this person so rich? Why is this person, having this big home, having this big car? And we just get angry to ourselves. We hate the other person because of what the person has, and we get angry to ourselves.
Exactly.
For no good reason. That is why I was saying that we need to control so many things in ourselves. And this competition and jealousy are part of them. We need to control. We need to take control over them. We have so many things that we can control. We have to take life simple and be content with what we have. We need to be content with what we have. So I think on the point of competition and anger, this is what I can say. Most time we get angry to ourselves for no good reason, just because we see the person doing so well and like this and this. And it says when you pray for others, God blesses you abundantly.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think the other point following competition was, I think he did mention of, I'm doing this because I've read the abstract that he wrote and circulated and sent to me. So, yeah, we should be able to expect less from others. This is where you have seen the situation of anger, especially sometimes I'm not being so picky here. People in the diaspora, because of the exchange rate of the money, that when you send money home, it becomes so much. Sometimes family members, they become so angry at their brother or their sister in the diaspora, that you are in the US, you are in the Europe, you are in the whatever country, you are not able to do this to the families because they are expecting so much from you. And that's why I think Pastor Gabriel Njualem said that we should be ready to expect less. Because when you expect more from somebody and that person doesn't provide, you become so angry because you think that he has so much money that he ought to give you, but he's not giving you. But which in the reality, maybe he does not even have, or maybe he has that money. He also has his own responsibility wherever he might be. And we have seen this in many scenarios where people say, oh, people in the US, they have much money, their currency is good, but if you think about the purchasing power of that money, they are not more than people in Cameroon. 10,000 pounds is equivalent to $100 in the US, in Cameroon. But when you talk about exchange rate, that is where the differences become. But if somebody is living in the US with $100, it is equivalent to what somebody in Cameroon will live with 10,000. And this, I think that are really practical. But somebody back home will say, oh, look at this guy. He has so much money. If you give $100, it's equivalent to 56,000 in Cameroon. He has so much money. They'll say, oh, boy, US, they make $1 million in salary. They have so much money, they can do a lot of things here, but they are not doing it. But they forget to know how much responsibility you have in the space where you are living. And they will develop so much anger. I think this is one of the aspects which, if we understand this, some of those anger will reduce.
Thank you so much. I think that's a powerful one. Most of us, we always get carried away by that. You expect somebody to give you something. In short, we should not even expect anything from somebody. It should come to us as a surprise. Because the moment you keep on thinking that I want this person to give me maybe a car, and the car is not forthcoming, it becomes a problem. You are making plans for a car in somebody's pocket. How? You don't even know what the person's plans are. You don't even know his priorities, but you are expecting him to give you a car. How is that possible? So it's even better not to expect anything from somebody, and it should just come to us as a surprise. As Pastor Riley said, as one of in his conclusion, that we should keep a smile. This smile that you are seeing, it solves a lot of problems. Whatever happens, just smile over it. As you smile, that is how your stress is going away. Every anger goes away. Somebody wants to, in short, somebody raises something to keep you very angry. And then the person is surprised to see you respond with a smile. What a shock. You cannot imagine that. The person will be like, wow, what is wrong with this person? I expect to see this person respond with anger and you instead give me a smile. No. It makes you look different. So I really appreciate what the pastor said. We should always keep a smile on our face. It even makes us look younger too.
An American Society of Psychiatrists have said, and I quote, that for every smile that you smile for 5 minutes will increase your life expectancy by 1 hour.
Hello.
So wow. These are real facts. You know, if you borrow from physics and chemistry, you have energy. We have energy in us. How that energy can go out in the form of sound wave when you speak, when you shout, when you smile. But now the thing is, how do you send out the energy? Because when you eat, you build energy in you. When you are angry, somebody said, don't just sit quiet because that energy is stored in you. It can explode and it has to explode. But how do you release that energy is what matters. You can either release that energy by laughing, talking, and smiling, or with anger. So it's the energy that you store in you. So it has to go out regardless. But you don't send the energy out in anger. Last. Go ahead.
I think Ladicious has been struggling. Let's try to give him an opportunity for him to say something before his network. Yeah, Ladicious.
Okay, thank you people very much. I'm grateful to be part of this great presentation. Unfortunately, I've had one of my worst day today concerning network. It's a topic that the topic is complex and very important because it touches everybody's daily life. I think I have all the reason to thank Pastor Njualem Gabriel, even though he's no longer here with us. But I'm very, very grateful. Without keeping you people tied that down, I think the moderator or the director of the GASA media, he talked of conclusion and he mentioned something I wanted us to deliberate on it, considering comparison. I think the least thing I can contribute here is just to say that we must, or one must, be contented with what he or she has. Yeah. Because this comparison is unnecessary. For example, some of us who have our 2 legs, who have our 2 hands, who are moving and doing great things, but there are some that cannot even move. We know they sit on one spot, the begging. They cannot do what you are doing. They cannot do what we are doing. And they are still contented with their way of life and how to manage their life. So we really need to be contented with what we have. For example, Mr. Kumar said 5 fingers are not the same. And all of us who know that 5 fingers are not the same. So whatever thing that you have, be contented with and pray for greater achievement. Because when you go in for comparison, when you go in for comparison, the next thing is that time will cut to those who are patient. They'll continue living their lifestyle. So you should not feel that because somebody is here and you are not there, it results to anger. And when you have that type of intention, the next thing that you think is on maybe on going extra mile. If I saw on going extra mile, because there's some people they were even lying to go for the so-called miracles. But I just know that if you are hardworking, miracle will look for you. So I would not like to chop your time much because maybe other people will still have something to say. But I'm really grateful to that. My network is better now. Thank you people very, very much. It's a topic to sit and listen and to practice. Very important in our daily life. But then, if people can allow me maybe to say something, because you mentioned about somebody who got married long ago and the wife could not conceive and produce children. He took the wife out when I started insulting it. I think that is something that none of us should imitate. It's dangerous because I've done a lot of research concerning infertility. You can be a woman, you are fertile, I'm fertile, but we cannot produce children. I will call it pair infertility. So when something like that is occurring, see where the problem is. If we discover where the problem is, unfortunately, it can be treated, or we can be advised to go about our life. I think we just research concerning infertility. Men always accuse women that they are infertile, especially when they are together, they want to have children or child, and they are not forthcoming. They always accuse women, but research is showing that infertility is 50-50, meaning that 50% of men, or if infertility exists, 50% it can equally be men and 50% women. So the problem of infertility is not only we see, it's very important. That is information communication. As young Christina mentioned about the communication. Communication is very, very important in our life. If you have a partner, a friend, develop an attitude that will enable you to understand that friend. Because if you understand that this is how your friend behaves, you will learn to accommodate that friend. But if you don't even understand, even your wife in the house, you will keep on having problems. And you will have a problem, and you don't share, or you have something in your mind, and you don't share with your partner. You keep it in your mind. The next thing is that it will result to anger. And anger has resulted to many loss of life in the world, something that we'll have to avoid. Thank you people very much.
Thank you for that contribution, and especially touching the area of infertility and fertility that we discussed previously. Moving on, I think one of the last things that we were trying to talk, that I would like us to, maybe we are almost on time. We can use 5 minutes to talk on this point, please, before we draw the conclusion where you quote the Bible, where somebody can maybe read and maybe explain to us this issue of we people being embarrassed. Then when you get embarrassed, you get angry. I want us to talk a little bit on some of the things that can cause somebody to become embarrassed. Maybe you go to a social gathering, or probably you are not properly dressed, or you feel, or I don't know, for whatever reason, you become embarrassed. Then when you get embarrassed, then you develop anger against somebody or somehow. I don't know how this fits into the narrative of what we are discussing here. Yes, Christy, go ahead. Yeah, we cannot hear you. Yeah, audio.
Can you get me now?
Yes.
Okay. Embarrassment, for me, embarrassment goes like this. When we go out in the public, I think embarrassment is always in the public. And one person does something that is not very good or appealing, and you try to correct outwardly in the face of people. That is embarrassment. So I will still bring it to mode of communication. Sometimes you can tap somebody slowly rather than speaking out. But when you try to correct somebody in the public, it looks like an embarrassment. You know?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are some of the things. Yeah, I think it will understand. That's why I really wanted us to understand some of these key elements so that we can use some of these tips, some of these techniques to be able to control ourselves while in public. Especially when it comes to speech. Some people cannot speak in public, even on camera. While speaking, you may make error. Maybe your pronunciation may not be so good. You may miss the tenses. So then people begin to laugh at you. So there you become embarrassed. Whoever make that public bust by laughing at you, that person become your enemy. From there on, look at him. He was laughing at me. So
look at the practical situation. One day we went to the church for a party, and during item 11, somebody had food on the plate full, and then instead of just tapping him by the corner and whispering in the ear, another lady just came to him and said, "Why do you take so much food like this? How can other people have their own share?" You know, the boy was so embarrassed and he was not even able to eat at all. So those are so embarrassed. Those are the kind of situations we have to know how to manage those situations. Rather than just talking outwardly in the face of other people, you can just corner the person and then whisper. I think that would be very healthy.
Yep.
That's all for now.
Thank you very much, Eddie.
Can I say something concerning the embarrassment too?
Yes, Nabia.
Yeah, actually, like what Mr. Ene just said, like you are in class, maybe you, let me say a teacher asks a question, they don't answer in the right way, they laugh at you. I think it's a way for you to move forward, to say, okay, next time I'm going to try in a more accurate way to answer maybe some other things that will come up. I think to me, it's like a motivation. Like if I do something, you laugh at me, you motivate me to study maybe harder on that thing that you have laughed at me, to correct it in the right way.
Okay, perfect. Sorry, I got disconnected.
Welcome back.
Thank you. NS, are you still there?
Is NS still there?
I can't get him.
Yeah, I'm still here. First, I was thanking Manye Foji Beatrice for that contribution. She has actually provided a practical solution to when you are being embarrassed in public, maybe especially in an occasion when you are speaking or you give a wrong answer, or then you take that as a challenge, or maybe you are poorly dressed in an occasion, your tie is not properly enough, or then you take that as a challenge. Next time, then you move on and better of yourself. I think it will put it that way in our mind rather than getting angry at people who laugh at you, because sometimes they don't even laugh. They don't even know what they are doing. We ask them to speak, they cannot even speak, but they always sit down and laugh at you. So you take that as a challenge and better of yourself. Beatrice, thank you for that wonderful contribution and providing a technical solution. So I think the last thing that we want to do before we move into social will be He quoted the verse.
Can I say something, please?
Oh,
Who is it? Can you say your name and you can see your image?
Nongene is there. The voice looks as Nongene's voice.
Is it a
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh,
I'm here.
Oh.
I'm present too.
Oh, okay.
Our reporter, you're welcome.
I'm present.
Go ahead.
Always
Go ahead.
late. Always late.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes,
So
go ahead.
can I give a little contribution?
Go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Good
Yes,
evening.
I'm sorry I came in late. I'm sorry for that. I
As
had
usual.
some problem to the phone beyond my control, but I've been listening for more than an hour, so I can say I'm present. So I just want to appreciate all the speakers. I think I have learned a lot today because I am one of those people who have that anger. And to me, my little contribution I have is that, as I know practically with my own anger, if this anger comes, my spouse will always calm me down. Then when the temper have calmed down, he will now draw me closer and tell me, you are always shouting.
What's wrong with her? She got disconnected?
Did we lose
Yeah,
her?
maybe. I think so. I think so.
Sure, she's having some technical hitches.
That's what I think. So yeah, sorry for that. The disconnection. I think she's having network problem. It appears Victoria is not in the best bed. Pastor Eno is right here because I saw was having the same network. Now, Nongene seems to be having. Okay, we'll move on. Before we conclude, I would like us to. I would like somebody. Beatrice, can you maybe explain to us the biblical for when the pastor, if he was here, I think it's Philippians verse 4 to 6. Yeah, 4 verse 6. Rejoice in the Lord always. In this context, to summarize everything that we have been saying here, if you can, please.
Thank you, Mr. Ernest, for the opportunity. The Bible, that quotation is just simply telling us that for everything, we should give God the glory. Like goodness will come at times, you still give him praises. Bad times will come, you still give him praises. Yeah, because when, for example, like couples, you will not always have a good times. There'll be a period where people will argue and come to a conclusion. And as such, you still have to thank God for that argument that has come up, for you to come now to a solution of whatever thing that people were arguing on. And in general, when you draw near to God, any situation that comes within your way, you will not have that that heart of holding somebody inside you. You always be at the point of maybe forgiving that person, because even the Bible says that we should forgive uncountable times. And maybe the 2 or 5 or 7 or 10 times that the person has offended you, you will not continue to harden your heart. So that scripture is just telling us that we should praise God for every situation that comes within our way. Then be patient, as one of our sisters rightly said, that we should be patient in everything that comes. I think that's the little that I have for that for that scripture.
Okay, thank you so much, Beatrice, for that wonderful contribution. Please,
Director, please let me say something. Maybe.
No, I'm not concluding. Yes. Oh, I'm not concluding. No, I'm not concluding. I'm just commenting on that point. I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I was just saying. Yeah, that verse was very important. The way he concluded by putting that, rejoice in the Lord always. So, regardless of what situation you may have, even though sometimes as human being it's very challenging, to say, oh, this person has done this to me. How will I just sit like this? And somebody will slam my face and I will not slap back. Yeah, Gillette, back to you.
Okay, I just wanted to chip in something concerning what Ojibia Mani said, concerning if you are embarrassed, maybe in public, how you could maybe challenge yourself to, to go over the situation. One thing that we do not like to hear is when people say things that we do not expect to hear. We want people to sing our praises. We want people to say the good things about us. And we forget that, yes, we feel good when people say nice things about us, but we should also be ready to welcome the negative things. In short, I appreciate those who challenge me. Right. If you challenge me that, Gillette, you are not well dressed today. Oh, I will look at myself and then I ask you, how could I have dressed better? From there, you explain to me. I learned a lesson. I know that maybe if I'm going to this kind of place, I should dress this way. Yeah, today I didn't dress well. Maybe next time when I'm attending maybe a particular party or a particular occasion, I should dress differently. I've already learned a lesson. But if somebody should tell you that, Gillette, you are poorly dressed today, and you get angry, you don't give yourself an opportunity to learn. I will just take a practical example of what I am doing at the media house at GASA as of now. I didn't start like this. I knew nothing from the beginning. In fact, when the director called me and said, when he used to even post messages in the forum that we need people to work in the media house, it didn't concern me because I knew that I don't know anything about reporting. I don't know anything. So maybe those who have done maybe mass communication, they should come up to work there. But when he pinpointed me and said, Gillette, I think that you can do it. I said, you think I can do it? He said, yes. I said, okay. If you can bear with my excesses, then there is no problem. I have never done it before. God knows it. But if you are ready to teach me, I am ready to learn. And to tell you the truth, him and our organizer, they always give me corrections. When they say, no, the way you spoke today, it wasn't good at all. I say, okay, tell me, how would I have spoken before it will look better? They will say, you should smile, you should do like this, you should do actions and so on. I say, okay, well noted. As simple as that. We should not always think that people should say the things that we love to hear. People should clap for us, they should sing praises to us. In fact, when I do shows and I air it out, I appreciate those who listen to the show and then they give me corrections. It's not always all perfect. Gillette, this one you said, I think that it would have been like this. I said, oh, I didn't reason it that way. Anyway, all the times I do research, but I didn't reason it. In short, my opinion was not in that direction. So I always learn. And to tell you the truth, what I have known today in reporting, I didn't know before, just because I subject myself. I don't look at it as when you tell me that what you are doing is wrong or this particular area of you is not good. I don't look at it as an offense. We should avoid looking at corrections that people give us. In short, I like people who challenge me. When you challenge me that this thing that you have done is wrong, I want to show you that I am able to do that thing. So that from there now you appreciate and see that indeed. And when you are that kind of person, it always brings out the positive aspects in you because you listen from left, you listen from right, and then together you become a real transformed person. Thank you so much.
Wow, that is wonderful. Thank you very much.
Technical controller, you can bear me witness.
Yeah. Yes, I think I will just say one word in that direction, and I think it is. I'm so proud today that you are today our media senior correspondent with all the process we've gone through without anger.
Without no anger.
With no anger, and we have been able to achieve our objective.
Exactly.
And I want to say thank you so much. I want to just use this opportunity to say a big thank you. You've done great for this organization.
I thank you more for training me.
Yeah. I think I would just finish my one word before Mr. Director will take it over and conclude. I think today has been wonderful in this presentation. Our collective contributions matters a lot. I would say it doesn't even matter how many people we are in here, but our collective contributions speak volume. It is very encouraging. It is motivating. It put us in the spirit of learning. It put us in the spirit of learning from each other, where we can better build our own self. We have learned a lot, and I personally have learned a lot from this contribution, and I have enjoyed it. I want just to say a thank you to Pastor Njualem Gabriel, who brought this presentation. The idea of this presentation, it was great. Thank you, and thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you, Julius. I think you have really concluded well, especially that people come in. We know how challenging with time conflict. Like Adjunct Christie, we completely different time zone. But you are able to come in after a long break. At least your contribution today were so wonderful, especially from the legal perspective. Every person that have their expertise from somewhere, when we draw all of that together, it will give us a resultant force, which is very powerful to pull and can pull mountain. So we'll continue to work harder so that when any opportunity comes up, everybody, if you have any presentation, send it direct to me or to Julius. We'll be able to help guide on how to present it. If you are scared, if you have any idea, we can work on that. We'll develop it. Nobody is perfect. Nobody should be embarrassed that I'm not able to present where people will laugh at me, people will get angry. No. Yeah, from here we are learning more and we're moving forward. I think at this time we'll be concluding then. And just leave it free for people to socialize. You can talk to any person, you can unmute anybody. People can make maybe the randomized noise, and yeah, and people can start moving around. And yeah, we thank you all. It has been a wonderful day. For a quick announcement, next Friday we'll be doing Zoom live covering the funeral of John Atemkem, father in Baltimore, Maryland. So if you log into Zoom at that time, you will not be able to comment. All will be muted. You will all be watching as in TV. You can watch, go out, do something else, come and log in and just watch the event. It will be on Friday and Saturday. I think on Friday will be the wakekeeping. Then on Saturday we'll be viewing at the funeral home. From there we'll move on to the burial. So everything will be broadcast live. So more communication on that will be coming, where you'll give you detailed time to log in. Password, everything will still be the same. Yeah, I think just at this point, we've come to the end of.
Yeah, I think before you close, we might just use this opportunity to say to everyone here that I will call on Mr. Director to say a little bit more, that in the days ahead, probably in a few days, what I used to do by putting the presentation in the forum immediately will not happen. We'll be creating a YouTube channel, which will be officially launched as probably very soon. And every presentation we make here will be in there. Mr. Ennis can say a little bit more on that.
Actually, I think we are working on it. It will be officially released somewhere maybe on Wednesday. We'll communicate through the WhatsApp platform directive on how. I think most people already know what YouTube. So most of our archives, our meeting, the event will be on the YouTube channel. So it's an official website for GASA 8990/GASA Media. Where all our event, all our activities, so that if anybody miss event, can always go there at any time and rewatch and listen to some of the topics that we have discussed that are very useful, like technical to solve issue. will still be there, so that if you come encounter with some of those challenges, you can always go there and get those solutions. So it become an academic archive, become a library, becomes a channel of communication. Moving forward, we'll also, as time goes on, we'll get to a point where we'll be doing live show on YouTube channel. We know we'll be challenging people at home with data to access internet, but that is something that we really hope that to get to that point where we will not have to maybe record event, then before we air it, we'll be doing a broadcast, so that if any event is happening, if anybody, say at home, has maybe a party or any celebration of any form, the camera is there, then it will be going live, so that anybody around the world can log in and able to follow the program instantly. It will not be recorded before air. So that's an announcement. We'll be coming on with those features to you in a few days ahead. So you stay tuned to GASA Media and GASA 8990.
Thank you, Mr. Director.
Yes.
On that note, we call it a day. So now it's time for socialization.